chance at the fall for a biggie.
Game shot.
A Thursday night at the Dart, which is littered with legends who have won on some of the biggest stages in the sport. We have a three-time Lakeside champion in Martin Adams, Paul Hogan, who became a little bit of a specialist on that stage himself. Kurt Parry, the reigning champion of champions, ADC winners in Stephen Johnstone and Tom Sykes. As
Johnstone and Sykes in the mix. There's so many questions that need to be asked. Tonight's going to be great.
It really is going to be. Tonight's attention is on Group B, where Stephen Johnstone and Tom Sykes battle their way alongside Kurt Parry, Paul Hogan and Martin Adams. I want to begin by talking about Stephen Johnstone, in particular the heartbreaking way in which he missed out in qualification through to Saturday night in Group A. Could there be a hangover this evening from that disappointment?
Absolutely. I don't know Stephen myself. I haven't spoken to him. So by that token, I don't know his tendencies. I don't know what he's made of. But if we talk about someone who's got Scottish granite in their blood, then maybe he's going to find a way to forget about what happened over the first 3 days and try and progress through a very tough group. But my word, he's got to be able to forget about it. Otherwise, there will be a hangover. But let's face facts. He's still Wolfie. He's still chucking darts that are troubling the likes of Phil Taylor, with who we beat very recently as well.
As for Stephen Johnstone, well, the man from Falkirk, well, he had all the aces in Group A.
Really interested to see what Stephen Johnstone does tonight in the mental stakes, because what happened yesterday, that would have rattled anybody.
80.
I think to settle himself down, just a nice, clean
91.
take on this leg
53.
would be really wonderful, especially in the first leg against the darts.
Game shot on the first
Bravo,
leg.
Stephen.
Johnstone.
Bravo. 88.17 is average
Second
for the
leg is
first 3
Stephen to
days.
throw first.
36% on doubles. He wasn't the kind of player that was putting in massive numbers, but he was playing really consistently.
135.
But there is a worrying trend. I wanted to bring this up because on Monday, he averaged 91.55. Tuesday,
95.
88.03. So there was a reduction in output over the day of 3.5 points. From Tuesday to
60.
Wednesday, it went down again by over 3 points. If that was to happen again, his daily average will be close to 81. That in this group
81.
will get flattened. So what he needs to do is buck the trend and go back in the other direction.
140.
Well, first things first, Stephen's left himself on a bogey, 166 on the back of that 1 foot. You get the sense that this is a vital game for Stephen. No dramas here, and he may be able
60.
to forget what happened yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. Start on a new footing. Maybe the fact that he's had 3 days of action and feels sharp. But look at what Stephen's leaving
50.
when Hogan
Stephen
is
recoil,
still outside of the
121.
finishing zone. He's been given time. Oh, okay, so that leaves 19. Was that a little greedy? I'll have to say yes.
105.
But I think Stephen's a very strong-minded character. Some of the things he does away from the hockey kind of lends its way to that.
134.
Following the session on Tuesday, he went swimming in the cold water and the beach in Southsea. That's the kind of character that he is.
140.
He went swimming in the water at
132.
Southsea. Well, he is from Scotland. He probably thought it was warm. It isn't.
55.
It's like one of those crazy Australian rules footballers when they go in the St Kilda water after a game on a Sunday.
Well, all I'm saying is he had a towel in his hand and he said, "Do you fancy coming swimming with me?"
100. We required 77.
Back to the darts. I suppose that's one way to go for 77.
Game
I've
shot
never
on the
seen
third
anything like
leg.
it in my
Paul
life.
Hogan.
Who goes 17s first on 77? What if he gets to 51? He's got
Well,
double
they get Stephen
13.
to throw first.
New
Game
school thinking from Crocodile Dundee. Stephen's got to be very wary of Crocodile Dundee here because he's starting to find a bit of a groove. Face facts, you can't go to sleep when you're 2-0 up.
100.
If you do, things can happen very abruptly.
Johnstone doesn't want any drama attached to this first game. Well, drama is riddled all over this first game for him now. Johnson here for the break, and to put himself 3-2 to the
Game's
good,
on the fifth
pins the
edge.
double eight,
Stephen Johnstone.
and now has the throw for the match. And for that opening victory, which will just put some of the demons of yesterday
Declare it's
afternoon to
Stephen
bed.
throw first. Game
The only thing that is going to make him forget about what happened yesterday is if he wins.
60.
He does look fairly placid tonight. He's not showing that vigour and that aggressiveness that we've seen over the last few days. But maybe he's learned
41.
from that game with Jimmy Van Skee yesterday. If he has, well done. Because maybe he just went a bit prematurely with the celebrations. But there you go.
180.
First 180 of the game. Not a bad time to find it. Stevie J is back on the winning
Game
horse
shot
and
on the
starts
match.
Group B very,
Stephen
very
Johnstone.
well. 88 average in that one, and his doubles were the reason why it was at that level. 4 hits from 7 attempts, and he catches Crocodile Dundee just a tiny bit cold. So, a very fair result.
Never before have we had a Group B where every single player has been tied on 8 points.
Do you think it's going to happen, do you?
First leg, it's
I don't think so, but
Stevens
let
to
a
throw
man
first.
dream.
Game on.
Okay, off you go. You can dream all you want. I don't think it's going to happen. What did you make of Stevie Johnstone, though, in his first match? 'Cause
58.
for me, that was really important to get back on the horse.
I think winning it was important. He could have made it a little bit more comfortable for himself than when he did make it in the end. He had a little bit of a mid-match wobble, but then recovered well towards the finishing
58.
line in that particular encounter. But that's up to press, and that is so far.
180.
And the Stephen Johnson scoring train has begun to put its wheels into motion.
As Stephen leaves himself in flake territory. And I mean that in a good way. Pick your single, pick your double, and put a
Game
flake
shot
in
the
it.
first leg.
1-0 Stephen
Stephen
Johnstone.
Johnstone.
Very, very nice.
Game on.
Stevie Johnstone being the son of Peter Johnstone, someone that Martin knew very well. In the international scene in the 90s, they will have been in the same halls,
97.
the same tournaments. And I'm sure that Martin's probably seen Stevie hovering around tournaments as a youngster. Even Stevie J's getting involved in those fancy shoes. He's got a pair of those mallets on as well, by the looks of it. You had those on your feet yet? H?
59.
No, I haven't. I'm a bit against the times.
And a pair of mallets apparently cost 180 quid. I like 19s on 283 because if you get 7 of them, it leaves a shot which is 6 19s for double 18.
55.
You can localise the target.
Martin, you require 133.
But Stephen Johnstone this week has not been showing that kind of tactical prowess.
And a leg that was in the leisure of Martin Adams may now bear the name of Stephen Johnston.
He's wondering which way to go for this, you know. He's not set on treble 17 or treble 13. Got to make your mind up. I'm going to have to rush you. He's gone for 17s. So now he's got an option on his singles. Double 18.
45.
Just didn't work out. I think he was just caught in 2 minds as to what to do.
Well, it's only one thing to do here.
No score.
One up, one in is the usual cry on the
Stephen,
double
you
one,
require
but the first
18.
one below opens up the door for Johnson to square up at 2-2. And it would also return the gain to throw, a shrug of the shoulders from Wolfie in the background. And
Game
shrugged,
shot on the
they'll
fourth
stay.
leg.
Johnston squares
Stephen
up,
Johnstone.
2-2.
Stevie Johnstone is getting very fortunate with these chances. He's
Game
taking full
shot on the
advantage of it
fifth
as well.
leg.
Wow.
And a win here for Johnston would
140.
assert his authority as the table topper. He'd be 2 points clear of the rest of the pack.
I'm not entirely sure that Stephen Johnstone being the leader of the pack is a good thing. He
100.
might benefit from being the chaser. And going bull there for me
62.
was the
Martin, you
wrong
require
option.
40.
I don't think it's gone against the darts.
Who said having the darts was an advantage?
Well, I don't know why we're having a look at the table, because it's quite academic, really, isn't it? Everybody on 2. Well, it looks like there's going to be plenty of drama to
You've
come.
just got to go up there and find out what you're all about. And this is what the Modus Super Series is all about. giving people opportunities to thrive. If things don't go your way, grasp another opportunity and learn from not doing it 100% correctly. You tend to learn more from failure than you do from success. It's valuable for the experience. But I see something different. Mr. Johnstone is not wearing his glasses. Or maybe he's like a gremlin. He's not allowed to wear them after 12 o'clock.
Game on.
Tom Sykes has found his kryptonite this week, and his name is Stephen Johnstone. Losses of 4-1, 4-0, and 4-1 have resulted in a man who would be called Jono if he lived in Australia, beating Tom Sykes this week by 12 legs to 2 in the first 3 days. When you put it in those terms,
64.
That's unreal.
61.
When you consider the talent levels of Sykes. 2 sixes.
Game shot in the second leg.
And at the minute,
Stephen Johnstone
looks more comfortable than Tom.
Game on.
One thing these two people have had to grapple with here tonight is the change in
60.
time zone. Changing your schedule from one day to the next. Going from
60.
waking up at maybe 6 a.m. to starting your preparations at around 7 p.m. That's difficult.
180.
Still don't know who he's pointing at when he hits those maximums.
Well, he's pointing in the direction of an average way in excess of a ton, 105.09 at this present moment in time.
Quite 50.
Stevie Johnstone is bossing this game all of a sudden. That was for a 10-darter.
38.
He'll find himself on 6 when he comes back. And if he wins for a 4th consecutive time against one of Yorkshire's
98.
best new players,
He required 12.
we've got to start thinking that he may just be the kryptonite.
For the double freeze pin, 16 darter, breaker throw. And guess what the score is? Tom Sykes with throw 1, Stephen Johnstone against the darts 2.
Game on.
This is where you've really got to program your preparation well. Playing at this time of night in some tournaments is a fabulous sign of success. You've got to make sure you eat at the right time, eat the right stuff, hydrate properly, and make sure that your energy levels will last the rest of the night.
That's kind of been the story of Stephen Johnstone's week. The 140 plus stakes, he's been so strong and so reliable in.
3-1 Johnston. That's what it is.
Stephen Johnstone.
He's going for it again. If he breaks in leg 5, he'll have done Sykes in 5 or 4 legs every time he's played him.
A demolition job.
He's completely sick of the sight of this guy from Scotland this week.
Stephen Johnston's hoping the crescendo to this match is as easy as 1, 2, 3. And he's going to get 6 to complete the job. And it'll be the 7th game tonight that goes against the darts. Triple 20, double 19 for the match. And an incredible way to go for 1, 2, 3. But it was as easy as that. Stephen Johnstone gets the better of Tom Sykes by 4 legs to 2. It's the 7th game tonight that has gone against the darts. Something incredible is happening beneath this roof this evening, I have to say. A 98.69 average in that match for him. 4 from 11 on the doubles. A 1, 2, 3 checkout.
That will give us 2 groups on Friday that we can't really call who's going to get through. But one thing that's been really impressive for Stephen Johnstone tonight is the bounce back after the disappointment in Group A and the ability to win darts matches like Clark Kent or Superman. Wore glasses in the first half, then after that, he's Super Stephen Johnstone. I'll make that reference because he is the kryptonite of a certain Tom Sykes, who he's beaten 4 times this week now.
Stephen, you require 5.
Even before this match began, Stephen Johnstone was top of the table. He would love to stay there overnight. It would be the 3rd day of this week that he's been top of the table. Stephen is 1 point shy of the darting albatross territory. Oh, interesting. And when you consider that he's already taken a
30,
136
56.
this week with 2 treble 20s and double 8, why did he decide on a different route? He went for 2 double 18s previously this week. He's not going to do it again. He's going to go for another single, which leaves tops. And he bends the wire.
Skims
52.
the wire. The precarious nature of tonight's concerned. Johnston.
180.
But the unpredictability of the last 25 games we've seen here in the Modus Super Series have taken my breath away.
It's been a crazy evening's worth of entertainment. Let's confirm then what we have seen over the course of the last few
And
hours.
as far as Stephen Johnston's concerned, maybe to answer your question, after what happened in Group A, 4 points is not a bad night's work. Weekly titles are not given out here. They're for the people who do the right things at the right times and are able to finish the job.
Chance at the ball for a biggie.
Game shot.
It's only 9 o'clock, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's a Scott, Stephen Johnston, ADC qualifier, the 35-year-old from Falkirk, playing with the much-loved Chunky Stumpies. And
But somebody is using a different set of chunky stumpies
60.
tonight. And those darts were made for chucking.
100.
Have you noticed that those darts have got a different colour in the groove pattern? They've got some yellow in there. So whether he's got
96.
a different weight or just a fresh set. They are new flights as well. Well, you wouldn't think it with the way that they've been mashed.
140.
The best running average
100.
of anybody last night was Stevie Johnston, 85.9. But look at those yellow grooves. He has not used those all week.
maybe a change is as good as the rest as far as Stephen is
99.
concerned. It has been a good week for him.
Opportunity. Going tops in that
91.
spot. Questionable, I would say, but what I like about his effort is that he didn't go really high on it.
60.
It almost looked as if I'll go for a high 20, and if I jag the tops, I'll go for it. Getting closer.
Game shot on the second.
Very
leg.
much in.
Stephen Johnston.
My word, did he give that a stare down. Wouldn't want to be that double 10 right now.
Feeling it.
38% on doubles yesterday, Stevie. Best of anybody. So when you put his numbers together,
140.
best percentage on doubles, best overall average, started in 4th out of 5th players.
81.
All week long, Henry, numbers have not made sense. Well, that's a good second dart.
140.
That's a very interesting third.
108.
That one's got me bamboozled. Nobody likes double 9. That's why people don't like it, Stevie. Oh, that's
No
an interesting
score.
bust.
100.
Maybe you can give me a hug and let me know that seeing flights like that from Stevie Johnson's darts is actually all right when in fact it's not. They look like they've been
96.
hit with
161.
some sort of micro blade that would zest a lemon.
90.
They're a disgrace. I say that in jest, of course.
And so now it's all about the battle for Ps 2 and Ps 3, it seems. And it's Tom Sykes against Stephen Johnston. Johnston, we
55.
actually have seen a bit more of a business-like approach from him this evening, where it feels like everything's just becoming a little bit more measured. But
I'm starting to think that Stephen Johnston's run out of flights, you know, because there's no excuse for them. Exactly. Is the local dart shop open tomorrow morning?
140.
Yeah, lovely 140 there from Stephen. He's back in this match.
and talking about excellent, this has been an excellent
I'm
response
going to
from
just get
Johnston.
rid of this, Stevie. Well
Game
done.
shot on the third leg.
Don't
Stephen
let him have a
Johnston,
shot.
86.
How do you think he'd feel if he went back to Castleford knowing that he'd lost to Stevie Johnston 5 times? He'd probably put a
140.
picture of Stevie on his dartboard and throw straight at it for the next 3 months.
But Johnston has kept very close order.
Double 3. Sykes is smiling. He knows this is going in.
Game shot on the
You
fifth
just
leg.
knew it was going to
Stephen
happen.
Johnston.
Honestly, has Stevie Johnston got a picture
Greg,
of
it's Tom's
Tom
right
Sykes
there.
in his wallet and got a vendetta against him? I have
85.
enjoyed every single game that these players have been involved in this week. They're so good to watch. Fast, efficient, passionate. That's exactly what you want from a modern darting product.
It's weeks like this, which is what makes the Super Series such a joy to watch. Johnstone getting in the 180 act, and Tom Sykes has duly delivered an average of 108.22, 3 maximums. He kick-started with the fish. He's finished with an 11. What a performance. And Stephen Johnstone can only smile and sip away at his water.
Below them, we've got a dogfight on our hands.
We most certainly have.
It is going to be
Stephen
tight.
Johnstone. It's our 6th game of the evening session, and for Stephen, this is huge.
Just a little bit. What did you make of your interview with Martin earlier? It was about as perfect an interview as you'll get, in my opinion. He was able to deflect
55.
any question that was delving so deep. I just throw my darts and see what happens.
Johnstone take out the 120 already this week, and he takes it out again to break the throw of Adams. A point in the air, and he proves a point, and he gets the break, and he leads 1-0.
Second leg, it's Stephen to throw first.
A bit like a 90s
Game
dance
on.
song. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands up in the air. He's done that an awful lot this week, but some of his practices have got me very, very confused.
180.
Things like that don't confuse me. I think they're very, very good. However, playing some games with glasses and some games without. Playing with flights that look like they belong in the bottom of a hamster cage, that confuses me.
140.
Changing to a different type of chunky stumpies. Now, there's a sentence I never thought I'd
60.
say. That is interesting. And maybe the biggest lesson he's learnt this week is maybe to temper his desire, because on Wednesday he might have just gone a little early.
100.
He looks like a player that is learning from his experiences.
Of that, there's no doubt. I remember the first time I ever commentated on Danny Van Tripe on the European Tour, and I levelled the same statement at him about his flights. He came up to me about an hour after he won his game, and he said, "Don't worry, I've sourced some new flights for tomorrow."
180.
Well, if you do with that, honestly,
Martin
just
Evercore,
in my face,
161.
just keep them in.
Stephen Evercore,
Double 18 to double the lead.
Game
Nothing
shot,
wrong
the
with your
second leg.
nines.
Stephen Johnstone.
This is good. Having said that,
Third leg, it's Martin
not
to
so good
throw
for Hogan
first.
and Sykes,
Game on.
because that log jam of 4 points for 3 players might be broken in as little as 5 minutes from now. But everything in this game seems to be going the way of the Scotsman.
Adams is up in the numbers from the 2 games that he won in this particular match, but it just hasn't been enough thus far. Johnston's found the X factor when it's mattered the most, and this is beginning to become the trend of tonight,
32.
when players are
Martin
needing to put in
Evercore,
performances
84.
they have.
Johnston could be within 1 leg of victory.
Game shot in the third
That's what he
leg.
does.
Stephen Johnstone.
And he's got 2 breaks of throw as well. This is a dream situation, because the last thing you want to do is give somebody
180.
a bit of an edge.
As is traditional, there's a smile on the face of Martin Adams. You can just tell he's really enjoying the heat of battling, and I think the tougher the test, the more he enjoys it. The average 94.74, 3 maximums, 3 from 5 on the doubles, and closing in now
85.
on a 4-0 drubbing of the 3-time Lakeside champ. It'd be his first defeat of the night. If he can pin double 8 for a perennial
Game
performance
shot
when
of
it's
the
mattered the
match.
most, and he gets the better of
Stephen
Martin
Johnstone.
Adams by 4 legs to nil, averaging 91.09 in the end. A 120 to kickstart. A real show of respect from Johnstone against a real idol of the sport, and they have a real conversation about the battle that they have enjoyed. That, the tail of the tape. 91.09, the average 4 from 7 on the doubles, a 120 out. Johnstone wins 4-0.
It's conceivable that Stephen thinks he has to win
60.
4-1 or 4-0. He might not have even looked.
How a whole week of play can just
106.
stem and boil down to one match.
Double top.
Game
And that's
shot
an
in the
equaliser.
second leg.
That could be
Stephen
huge. Because now, instead of going 2-0
Letting
down,
Stephen to throw first.
he still has a buffer. Let's see if you know that one, H. Let's see if Stevie knows double 9.
Game shot the
That's the first time in this group he's done that. And if you remember, in Group A,
Fourth leg, it's Paul to throw first.
he did it when he got his second leg, didn't he?
And I think Paul Hogan took a little bit of umbrage there. I don't think he was best pleased.
Yeah, that's something to an old school player that is classed as disrespectful.
Has Stephen Johnson
98.
just woken Paul Hogan up here? Back-to-back 140s at the beginning of the leg.
Oops, if he has. And if that happens again, where he loses out by the finest of margins because he's done that, he shouldn't do it again. They say don't poke the bear, or don't poke the crocodile either.
41.
Well, it's not well advised in many scenarios, let alone on a dartboard, pun intended.
Can you imagine if he'd done that to some other players?
100. We require 25.
Some people would have a real problem with it. Double 8.
Game shot.
We
the
have a
fourth
game
leg.
on our
Paul
hands.
Hogan.
Now, Paul Hogan is not going to qualify because of his leg difference. But now he's got
Stephen to throw
motivation.
first.
Look at him. He didn't like it. Look at him in the background.
95.
There's a phrase that hovers around dart players when something like that happens. I've been in games like this before. You just grit your teeth and you say, ah. So it's like
95.
that, is it?
And it's
Hogan.
very interesting to see the emotion there with Stephen Johnson when he busts a double 13. Oh, there is some tomfoolery
Super
going along
to
here.
throw first.
Hogan gave him a right on
Game
look.
on.
He's wily. He's been around a long time. I tell you, this is generational stuff here.
60.
People of Paul's ilk, they don't like that stuff. They like to play the gentleman's version of the sport.
60.
But what we have in modern day darts are mercenaries.
What did you make, though, of Stephen
41.
pointing to his head when that double was
It's
missed?
a natural reaction when things don't go your way and you're brimming with adrenaline
58.
and lots of thoughts. You tap your temple or your head in some way and you say, think, stay calm. But what is it
100.
about when he lets that out? This week is telling us that when that happens, he loses something. He's just got to be more patient. And that rattled flight that I've talked about all night, or should I say flights, has just denied him
100.
more points.
Well, he's been a bit like Teddy Sims in the fact that in this moment he's lost control. Stephen Johnson let out a roar when he won his second leg of the match. Paul Hogan, you could see, took a bit of drama, and the entertainment continues. Drama boils down to the last game of the
It's
session.
kind of lived up to the vibe of the series so far, but the theme of the week has been unpredictability, hasn't it?
I don't have any nails left. It's as simple as that. And as far as Group A is concerned, we thought that was going to be the dramatic group of the week. But it has been the tail of the tape all week long, at times thinking, Stevie Johnstone is going to do a job here. But when we came into Wednesday, that was the day that told us that maybe week 6 in Series 7 is one we'll never forget.
We saw another match as well against Jimmy Van Ski where maybe he was advised to get sort of really animated, lost that. And we saw something similar happen to Stevie Johnson in Group B as well.
Yeah, very true. I think when he goes back to Scotland in due course, he needs to understand how he felt in certain situations. It obviously hasn't put him into Saturday night, so he needs to figure out what to change or what to adapt for the next time he comes here. He's in a similar situation to what Jimmy Van Ski was in the last time he was here. He's had a crack at 2 groups. He hasn't made Saturday night, but now he's got to find a way to do it. 170s are plenty. We've had huge 160 plus finishes, but when you look at numbers like that, that is something that we are going to remember for a while.
What will be your overall assessment of that Group B campaign as a whole?
I think it was a very, very good group. Good group, to be honest. I mean, yeah, there were some great darts. I mean, Stephen, when he played me yesterday, I mean, what an awesome game. He was just something else, wasn't he? 3 180s, banging them away, but it's amazed like he didn't get through.
One of the things we picked up on yesterday was, especially in that heated battle against Stephen, is that smile on your face. Those types of battles, you just love still being involved in them, don't you?
Yeah, of course I do. I love playing darts. That's why I'm still here. That's why, people keep asking me, oh, when are you going to retire? I'm not. Go away. I'm not retiring because I love it.
These are the games you live for.
Flair gets Martin to throw first.
The
Game
more
on.
tension, the better.
And you know what, Paul? You sometimes don't need big averages for it to be a real good match. They're averaging 82 and 81 here, but the tension and the importance of this game has treated us to a real blockbuster.
The best game of Group A this week was between Jimmy Van Schie and Stephen Johnstone, and they both averaged in the 70s.
100.
Statistically, it was the worst game of the day, but it was the best game of the group. That may sound like lunacy, but because of the tension in the game, it had exactly what you want from a darts match. Jeopardy,
45.
nerves, and personality.
And these are two big personalities on the hockey. And you can't have a shirt like that without having a personality.
Adams doesn't blink when he goes for that third shot. Stephen Johnstone is in the crowd tonight. I get the feeling he's here tonight just to feed his hunger for a return journey to Portsmouth from Falkirk. He missed out on being here from Group A and Group B by the finest of margins. I've never seen a journey like it. Week 6 of Series 7 will never be forgotten. It is, for me, and I'm not just saying this, after everything we've seen this week, this is the best weekly campaign I've seen because of the drama, the standard, and everything else that's attached to it. And it's not even over. I think people are going to start cluing up to the fact that this is the best qualifying week we've ever had.
It's been the most bonkers, balmy, dramatic we've arguably ever seen under this roof.
I wouldn't want to be playing next week to try and top this. They're going to have to bring some sort of standard and drama, that's for sure. I think even Stevie Johnstone, who's in the crowd tonight, will be thinking, I'd love to have been part of this. And it might just stoke the hunger that he needs to come back and try and get a first Saturday. But yeah, week 6 has been quite unbelievable. Got to start looking for some new stars here at the Modus Super Series. But I've been here since Dart 1, when we started 4 years ago from home in Southampton, then coming to Portsmouth. We've had great weeks, but nothing has been this dramatic. But as far as our nails and our nerves are concerned, they're completely shredded.